Tyson Fury, his next event in the public eye, his next fight is not in boxing, but it's in the WWE on October the 31st against someone called, let's get his name right, Braun Strowman. Yeah, Braun Strowman. He's a big guy. He's the same height as Tyson Fury, but twice as wide. October the 31st. The event's called Crown Jewel. It's pay-per-view. And Tyson Fury's trying to get paid. He's trying to get paid. What's my opinion? I have no problem with it. I have absolutely no problem. Other boxers before, boxers that were either megastars or boxers that were making that transition from a household name to an international star, have done it in the past. Let's get into it. So 1980, Muhammad Ali, WrestleMania 1. No, he didn't fight because his Parkinson's was getting quite high at that time and difficult to manage. But he was like a guest referee, a referee who was outside the ring. And that was a fight between Hulk Hogan and Mr. T fighting against Rowdy Roddy Piper, Hot Rod, and someone else. I don't know the other guy's name. If you watch it on YouTube, quite funny. There's a moment when Piper and the other guy, they rush Mr. T in the corner because it's 2 against 2, but only one fights one in the ring at a time. So they rushed him, which was I guess outside of the rules. So Hulk Hogan rushes across, throws some licks. Then Ali gets in the ring and he licks, he punches Hot Rod out the ring, and he gets everyone back in order really quick. Side note, there's a quick side note. Mr. T used to be Muhammad Ali's security guard, his bouncer. So Mr. T got in the game by being a bouncer for celebrities, and that led to him being in wrestling, which was called WWF at the time, now WWE, and also in the Rocky films. So that's 1980. 10 years later, 1990, Iron Mike Tyson, undisputed heavyweight champion, is meant to defend his title against James Buster Douglas. And then after that, meet Nelson Mandela. And then referee WrestleMania, not sure which number it was, WrestleMania against Hulk Hogan fighting Macho Man Randy Savage. Mike couldn't make that event because unfortunately, Mike wasn't honing his skills. A little bit overweight going into the Douglas fight, trying to cut weight, but also rather than working on his craft and cultivating his craft, he was in his hotel room sleeping with Japanese hotel staff. So Mike wasn't in fighting shape. And as we all know from there, Mike Tyson knocked out by James Buster Douglas. Historic moment. I'm a Mike Tyson fan, by the way. The biggest upset in heavyweight history. James Buster Douglas, a 42-1 underdog, beats Mike Tyson and has a moment of fame. And he goes on to be the referee, the enforcer in that fight against Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. That's 1990. Fast forward 1998, I believe. You might want to research it, but roughly 1998. After Mike bites Evander Holyfield's ear in the rematch in 97, he's banned from boxing for a year and a half and given a $30 million fine or $27 million fine. And he takes a trip into the WWE, and it's Stone Cold Steve Austin against Shawn Michaels. Mike's the enforcer, but appears to be on Shawn Michaels' team. But towards the end of the event, he counts Shawn Michaels out when Stone Cold is holding him down. Shawn Michaels is a bit upset. So what does Mike do? He he takes off his shirt and shows a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt, which says, I think it's like $3.50 on it. That was his trademark. Shawn Michaels steps to Mike, confronts him very aggressively, and Mike lands a one-punch right hand, which knocks out Shawn Michaels cold. And I believe Michaels paid between 25 to 30 million for that event. So you get paid in wrestling. They pay you big. And they don't take any boxers. It's not like you see one boxer every year going into WrestleMania. It's every now and then they take a boxer. So I guess from the WWE's point of view, they want certain figures that are popular and entertaining. So if they're picking Tyson Fury, then hey, that says something about the potential that they feel he has. After that, I don't know the year, but in the 2000s, Floyd Mayweather Jr., who at the time, he wasn't a megastar, but he was trying to make that transition. He fought someone called, is it Big Show or the Showman? This guy's a big guy. Mayweather's small. Going into the fight in the promotion stages, whatever, Mayweather came to an event where the Big Show was, and Big Show picked Mayweather up, held him like 9 feet in the air, and threw him out the ring. It looked funny, and Mayweather ran off. But when they fought, Mayweather just finessed him with celerity of movement, and managed to knock him out in the end. Mayweather did have like a brass knuckle when he knocked him out, but you know, this Big Show, he's a big guy. And now we have Tyson Fury later this month fighting Braun Strowman. So the point I'm trying to make is that historically, boxers do this to either to boost their profile so they can become megastars, or to just help, give them an extra payday, which you haven't got to train as hard for because we're not boxing. So I have no issues with Tyson Fury doing this. And I guess from my point of view, when Fury fought Klitschko, it was about 7 years ago when he beat Klitschko, that should have been a gargantuan moment for him to sort of drive his profile through the roof. But what Fury did was, instead of, defending his title and living the boxing life, he got overweight, had drug issues, was drinking, and he left boxing for a long time. So he hurt his profile, because Fury actually, he opened up the door for boxing, because at that point, Klitschko was the ruler, and boxing was deemed as quite boring, because Klitschko's style was very much jab and grab. So as great a champion as he was, he wasn't getting a lot of interest. But Fury opened the door for other fighters to come in and say, right, let's make this exciting again, because now Klitschko has been proven that he can be beatable. And what happens from there, as Tyson Fury is, not able to box for mental health reasons, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, they start making noise, especially Anthony Joshua. Wins the Olympic gold medal in 2012, goes on to win a belt by beating Charles Martin, defends his belt against Klitschko, and becomes the main man in the division. And I think Tyson Fury is looking back and saying, okay, so I've been out the ring and I've let other guys come into boxing and they're earning some crazy money, and now I've got to play catch up now. So that's why I think he's doing it. I think he's realized that he's missed out on big fights, earning big money, and probably hasn't earned anything compared to what Anthony Joshua's earning, and probably thought, you know what, I now need to push myself and get paid. So I would say that what's made Tyson Fury big recently is his draw last December, his fight which he drew last December against Deontay Wilder. And after that, it will be this fight, because his other two fights since beating Deontay Wilder, they weren't big fights. They weren't against household names. They haven't set the world on fire. However, he has signed an $80 million, I'm not sure how many fights, but an $80 million deal with ESPN to get market in America. And I think his last two fights against Tom Scorts and Wallin, they probably haven't done well financially. So Fury realizes that he needs to boost his profile, and doing what he's doing now, going into WWE, makes sense, because you want to induct more casual fans into the sport, so that when you next fight someone like a Wilder or Anthony Joshua, you've got a big profile and it generates more money. So I don't have any issue with that. But yeah, the fight is against Strowman at the end of the month, October the 31st, in Saudi Arabia. I guess the funny thing is obviously, for those who know boxing, there's politics in boxing, and there's different networks and promoters that don't work with each other. Anthony Joshua is promoted by Eddie Hearn, and he's on Sky Sports Network in the UK and DAZN, a streaming app in America. While Tyson Fury, he's promoted by Frank Warren. So Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, they're rival promoters. They don't really work well together. They hardly work together. They're always slagging each other off on YouTube and so forth. So Tyson Fury fights on the BT Sport Network in the UK, and in America he's on ESPN. But now this wrestling fight is going to be on Sky Sports, which is quite interesting. But as you probably know as well, in his last fight, Tyson Fury got a bad cut against Weiland, which would mean that his proposed fight against Fury and against Wilder in February, he may not be ready for that fight. So I guess from his point of view, it's sort of like, well, why not have a wrestling fight where I'm unlikely to get cut? Because obviously, as we know, it's staged. Let's keep it real, it's staged, whatever. But I haven't got to train as hard and break my body down, but I'm going to get paid some good money. So I think it's a smart move on his behalf. And, the more interest we have for any fighter in boxing, the better it is for the sport. Even KSI versus Logan Paul, that's, in my opinion, that's good for the sport. Providing they have good fighters on the undercard, that's good for the sport, because it brings more interest. And the more interest we get, the more fights we get, the more I get to cover, and the more we have things to talk about at work with our colleagues who don't know about boxing, and we can just say, well, actually, this is a good fight, you should check out. His name is Devin Haney. So that's my thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Do you think this is good for boxing? Do you think Tyson Fury is trying to duck the Wilder fight? What's your thoughts? Should boxers not go into wrestling and make big money? This is MSLB, Mark Sterling Boxing. Have a good Sunday. You'll get this video Monday morning. All right? Peace out. Bless.